Places are meaningful spaces, and part of what makes them meaningful to us are the feelings that we associate with them, the affective and emotional residue of our experiences involving them. As location-based games rely on engagement with existing places for their gameplay, developers of these media can attempt to draw on the existing affective potential of physical environments to provoke certain kinds of emotional experiences in players. The challenge revolves around how we can design games that make this process of interacting with the place engaging, meaningful, and evocative. We can also investigate what kinds of unique experiences and subjectivities might emerge from the gameplay. One of the most evocative possibilities of location-based games is the intimacy that players can form with places through co-presence in physical environments. Becoming aware of the diverse intersecting stories and histories of a place while being at the site itself brings into contact the visible and invisible forces that shape the meanings we associate with places, re-enchanting our everyday encounters with these sites. In this way, the affective potential of location-based play can also be shaped by the format of the game. For example, treasure hunts in particular are effective at drawing attention to aspects of our surroundings that we might not have been previously aware of. In these practices of discovery, players become gatekeepers to intimate spatial knowledge, provoking feelings of empowerment and excitement. The key considerations here are the types of agency afforded to players by the gameplay rules developers curate. Offering opportunities for creativity in the negotiation of these rules, in particular, can shape engagement with place around characteristics that are meaningful to players themselves. For example, My Game Canterbury in 3 Words challenges players to tell stories about sites using their What 3 Words addresses. In interviews, players explained that the restriction of having to include the address words inspired their creativity, while giving them enough freedom to create stories using formats as varied as poetry or fantasy fiction, and covering any topic related to the city. Location-based games also offer unique opportunities for meaningful sociality that is centered around co-inhabiting places with others and sharing information. My Game The Timekeeper's Return was designed such that players had to talk with shopkeepers in Canterbury's Cathedral Quarter to progress in the treasure hunt, hearing their stories and learning about what they do. Participants said that this reinforced a sense of community and bonds between the area's historic past and the present day. In such possibilities for co-presence and encounter, location-based games offer a new angle on Audrey Annabelle's observation that the sociality and interactivity of games engages affect as a relational force that produces emergent collective identities. There are ethical caveats here, particularly in the use of digital platforms such as social media sites, where privacy is often a concern for participants. Unequal power relations can also be implicated both in the degrees of agency that are afforded to players through game rules, the affordances of various platforms and technologies through which the game is run, and the socio-legal codes such as terms and conditions that determine what kinds of behaviours are deemed appropriate on these platforms. Therefore, in examining how impressions of place are formed in location-based games, a post-phenomenological approach that considers the broader social, material, and embodied context in which a player plays can help unpack the relationships between navigation and narrative and designer, player, and platform that are performed.